Radhe Radhe. Today is Saturday, 21st February 2026, and here we are to present to you this recap video for today's Bhagavad Gita study session. Along with me, here is Mummy.
Radhe Radhe.
So, we finally have concluded chapter 12 today. So, we'll take a look at the cover slide and see that we covered verses 18, 19, and 20 to finish off chapter 12. We started, nevertheless, with the usual recap quiz. So, that was for last week's content on chapter 12, verse 17. As always, if you take a look at the description for the video, you can get access to the free community portal page and other relevant links for reference material. With that, let us take a look at chapter 12, verses 18 and 19 that occur together in Swamiji's Holy Bhagavad Gita.
समशत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समः सङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतिर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतस्थिरमतिः भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः.
So, chapter 12, verse 18 has the catchphrase seasonal stability. That is because we are being told that devotees have stability, equipoise, equanimity in all kinds of seasons, not just summer and winter, not just cold and heat. It is in terms of joy and sorrow as well, in terms of loss and gain, in terms of favorable and unfavorable circumstances. So, seasonal stability, followed by chapter 12, verse 19, contented and connected, being satisfied and content with whatever comes our way, recognizing that as a gift and blessing from God, and of course, continuing to maintain that element and aspect or approach of yog, of union, of being connected with the Supreme Lord. So, in these two verses combined, you'll see that there are several more qualities of devotees that are enumerated. Again, devotees who then are very dear to Sri Krishna. Several of these we have seen in recent or even much, much earlier chapters and lectures and discourses. So, probably self explanatory, most of them for you. For instance, being alike to friend and foe. Friend, yes, it's easy to be friendly and nice with them, but with an enemy, with a foe, it might be difficult. But devotees have that, and Swamiji illustrates that with this story of Prahlad, his guru, his son, and the Guruji's son as well, with this interesting transition and talking about nobility and grace in a way, which is about being alike to friend and foe. Naturally, being equipoised in honor and dishonor, that is again a very difficult situation, the dishonor part, but it is again devotees who have that flame of divine love burning so strong in them that these things fall to the wayside. Again, we mentioned many times alike in cold and heat, joy and sorrow. Swamiji quotes the example of Ramakrishna Paramhans. Next up, we have one about associations. So this is where you are free from all unfavorable association. So we've all heard about satsang many times, whether it's a Sunday or a different day of the week for you, you are taking part in satsang. That's favorable association. That is, of course, involving yourself in bhakti, prayer, kirtan, meditation, sadhana. The opposite is kusang. And hopefully, devotees, of course, have been able to dissociate from kusang, gossip, worldly affairs, things that are unproductive from a spiritual standpoint. Of course, compliments, easy to take, reproach, difficult. Likewise, it is through both praise and reproach, chiding, or not getting a compliment, that a devotee stays equipoised. Silent contemplation, that's an important one. As Mummy mentioned in class, we've seen that perhaps in chapter 6 in the context of dhyan and meditation. Here, Swamiji gives the example, the contrast of crows versus swans. And it's really about, again, getting clear away from garbage and focusing truly on tranquility. Tranquility of thoughts, the mind. Doesn't mean that one stops talking. One talks or converses, but it is on topics that are related to God. As always, Nam, Roop, Lila, Gun, Dham, Sant, right? Names, forms, pastimes, glories, saints. So that is again a quality of devotees. content. We've seen this several times. Mummy will take us through actually a couple of, verses that Swamiji quotes as well, but being satisfied with whatever we have. We've seen that in Patanjali Yoga Sutras as well. New one, perhaps, without attachment to the place of residence. This world is, in a way, we are going through this journey through it. Nothing is permanent. Things are temporary. Mummy gave the example of, a train and its journey and it stops. Many different examples. Swamiji quotes here from, or gives the example of Akbar. All this is for us to appreciate that we are blessed with what we have, but we can't get too attached to it because things may change at some point, and we just move on then to that next thing. In this case, the example is a place or a location of residence. Intellect firmly fixed on God. Of course, we've seen this many, many times. We've talked about that single pointed aim. It is about having that firm conviction and having our focus entirely on Sri Krishna, knowing that He is that supreme goal. With all these qualities elaborated, those help explain what a devotee is made of, and those devotees, as again Sri Krishna has said, are very dear to Him. Next, let us look at the final verse of chapter 12, verse 20.
ये तु धर्म्यामृतम् इदम् यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्धाना मत्परमा भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियाः.
So, chapter 12, verse 20 has the catchphrase with a little bit of alliteration as a question: never ending nectar. We've all heard about nectar in many, many different ways through Swamiji's and Maharaji's lectures. We know, of course, what that's referring to. And here in this concluding verse, and taking us back again to that summary where it started much earlier with Arjun's questions, Sri Krishna's initial responses, and then in recent verses, many of them, all these qualities that have been listed out of devotees. Sri Krishna says, those who can honor this nectar of wisdom, everything that Sri Krishna provides us, that is divine, those divine words, but coupled with that, have faith in Him, again, His personal form, and who are devoted on Him. So that devotion again to the personal form and intent on Him as that singular supreme goal, again, that fixed, the conviction of the intellect. Those devotees, he now says, they're not just dear to Him, they are exceedingly dear to Him. So again, in this conclusion, we see just a short paragraph of commentary. Swamiji takes us through this quick summary of this sort of evolution of these chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. We've talked, of course, much, much earlier about Karma Yoga. We've talked about Gyan Yoga at some stage. The questions from Arjun focus on the contrast of those who worship the formless versus the personal form. And affirmative. The answers, the conclusions are very definitive by Sri Krishna. He says that this path of spirituality, this path known as bhakti, is the one that has devotees who are exceedingly dear to him because they are convinced, they're fully, they have full faith, surrender in God, in the personal form, and in fact, all other aspects as well. But they appreciate the existence of the personal form all around at any point in time in different manifestations. And with that faith, they get these virtues that make them true devotees. And in fact, they're elevated to be exceedingly dear to Sri Krishna. So the highest yogis in that sense, but because they're engaged in devotion upon Sri Krishna's personal form. Mummy, I'll pass it over to you now to also talk about these three verses and give us some additions for our Sanskrit dictionaries.
Thank you, Gagan. You have explained almost everything. Let's look at first. We look at two words, one from chapter 18 and one from verse 18 and one from verse 19. From verse 18, the word is samaha. The word starts with samaha. And in verse 19, the word starts with tulya. So now notice, tulya also means alike here, and samaha also means alike. And how are these used for two qualities that Krishna likes very much? That means one is alike to friend and foe, and alike to praise and reproach in verse 19. Both the verses, they are talking about samaha and tulya, alike to friend and foe and alike to praise and reproach. Basically, remember, in life, in day-to-day experience, it is not easy. It's very, very difficult, because these are the things which we face very commonly. Somebody is our friend and somebody who doesn't like us, who criticizes us, or we don't like that person. Now, to have a good feeling for, or a like feeling for, a friend also and for an enemy also, it's no joke. But this is what we are learning here, that those who are alike in both the situations, when they get criticized or when they get praise, those devotees are very dear to Sri Krishna. Okay, here we are learning this wisdom, this knowledge. As devotees, we have to slowly imbibe that in our day to day lives. Okay. And from verse 18, there's another word, Sangha Vivarjitaha. Sang Vivarjitaha means free from all unfavorable association. So, what is that unfavorable association for us devotees now? Because we are on path of spirituality and going, that also we are following through bhakti, because Krishna is saying that is the supreme path to spirituality. So now, as devotees, since we want to imbibe this quality, we have to keep away from kusang. What does kusang mean? Kusang means that they are talking about worldly affairs, these other people. Okay. So we have to keep ourselves away from all that, because it is very easy to get drifted back into those worldly affairs. Okay. And getting attracted to those things which are, ruled by Maya. So they are very, very easy. So, if we stay more with satsang, where it is always the absolute truth, that Krishna, that is being talked about, discourses, kirtan, yoga, where we are able to focus our mind on God. So, we have to uh, stay away from unfavorable association and stay with the right kind minded of people. That's when Krishna will love us more. And from verse number 19, let's look at the word sthiraha. Sthiraha means firmly fixed. Okay, that's intellect, because we are learning from Bhagavad Gita, this knowledge, this wisdom. So our intellect should not have any doubt, any suspicion. We have to now understand that Sri Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and our goal also has to be that Supreme Lord. So we have to have firm faith and conviction and keep our mind always fixed in God. Now, from verse number 20, we will look at the word, yes, Mat Parmaha. Mat Parmaha means intent on Sri Krishna as the supreme goal. This is the conclusive verse of chapter 12. This is in Bhakti Yog, where Sri Krishna has explained to us first that he is the one who has created this universe and he is the one who is looking after the whole universe. We have understood that, and now we have to have all the time in our mind that our supreme goal is realization of the Supreme Lord. And how will we do that? By Paryupasate. Paryupasate means exclusive devotion. Exclusive devotion of Sri Krishna only. That is how we can attain him. Now, there are these certain qualities that Sri Krishna has said in verse number 18 and 19. From those, I like these two very much. In one where he says that be content with whatever comes your way. So remember, in our way, all good and bad things, everything come together. Remember that in life there is up and down, everything. So what we have to imbibe is that always be santushtaha, always be content whatever I am getting, okay, because that is what God has decided for me, or maybe because I am paying for my uh, past karmas and I have to complete this account that I have been prarabdh that I have been given for this lifetime. So we have to learn to be content, and content in the way that I want to be happy only when my needs are being taken care of. Swamiji gives example through a doha of Kabir ji. मालिक इतना दीजिए जामे कुटुंब समाए, मैं भी भूखा ना रहूं साधु ना भूखा जाए. Okay, so hey Prabhu, oh God, just give me that much which is enough for my bodily needs, okay, and I should be able to help these saints who are doing good work for the society and this universe. Okay, so that is where we have to learn this quality of contentment. And another very important thing is without attachment to the place of residence. So what we think that we have come in this world, we are going to live forever. Okay, but we have to mentally prepare our mind that this is like a dharamshala whereby you just stay for the night and morning you move on. If we start preparing our mind like that, then it will be easier for us to handle this lifetime. So, Swamiji has given example from Radha Govind Geet, which goes like this. जग में रहो ऐसे गोविंद राधे, धर्मशाला में यात्री रहें ज्यों बता दे, राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे. So all the time keeping our mind in God, just live like that. Today is the last day. It's like a journey on a train where when the next station is going to come, where we have to get down, always be mentally prepared. Don't get too emotional or too attached to the place of residence, because any situation might come up whereby God will put you in the real uncomfortable situation. So don't be too comfortable in this situation. Okay, so be mentally prepared, and of course keep our intellect firmly fixed in God. And Shri Krishna says in verse number 9 that it is the bhakti yog through which you can attain Shri Krishna easily. He says this is the supreme path of spirituality, bhakti yoga, and he concludes that compared to Gyan Yoga, Bhakti Yoga is easy to attain God. And then important thing is that you grow within yourself the qualities that Sri Krishna has mentioned in verse 18 and 19, and through that make your goal of life as God realization with loads of loving devotion and attachment to God. Over to you, Gagan.
Thank you, Mummy. Yes, indeed, a great conclusion for the chapter. And how about we also, before I show the flyer, let's also close out with the prayer for chapter 12. We'll do that as part of our endeavors along the path of Bhakti Yoga.
Om Tat Sad Iti श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्ण अर्जुन संवादे भक्तियोगो नाम द्वादशोऽध्यायः। सर्वं श्रीकृष्ण अर्पणमस्तु। हरिः ओम्।
Divine conclusion there for chapter 12. And then, as I said, let us also remind ourselves about this flyer we had seen prior to class and in the session as well. How can you be exceedingly dear to Sri Krishna? So, a pun on the spelling here for B, B-E-E, as you can see, all these honeybees floating around. You see nectar. You actually see this is meant to be words of wisdom, scripture, nectar of wisdom. And all around, if you take a look, there is that garland. Sri Krishna has told us today to end chapter 12. Those who can honor this nectar of wisdom, have faith in Him, be devoted to Him, and be intent on Him as that supreme goal. They are, remember, not just dear only to Him, but exceedingly dear to Him. So they are the true highest yogis and the devotees for him of his personal form and who honor all of this nectar that he, of course, blesses us with. So that's the way to conclude, of course, chapter 12 from a visual standpoint. And that then reminds us that next week, it means it is going to be time for a chapter quiz. So, in the next few days, everyone has continue along your path of bhakti, go through all the 20 verses of chapter 12, go through the recap videos, Swamiji's translation, commentary, etc., your notes. And we look forward to meeting next time, which is going to be the end of the month, Saturday, 28th February 2026, 8 a.m. Central Time, 7:30 p.m. India time. Till then, thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Yes, Radhe Radhe, and let's take blessing from Radha Rani to be steadfastly engaging in devotion upon the personal form of Sri Krishna. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe.